Hey, so you have just watched a video on energy and the laws of thermodynamics. You learned that energy has different forms, whether it's potential or kinetic, and that that energy can do work. And according to the laws of thermodynamics, energy is never created nor destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another. But according to the second law of thermodynamics, that conversion process leads to some of that energy being converted to a less usable form or a less dense form, usually heat. So in this short lecture, we're going to talk about energy efficiency. So how much work is actually done given a certain amount of energy input into a system. So you can write it here as this, the amount of work given the amount of energy input. Our example we're going to use is gasoline in automobiles. So we're all pretty familiar with this. If you take a gallon of gasoline, you put it in a car, there's a particular number of miles that it travels, which is the work that we want, the desired work. If we take something like a Hummer and we put in a gallon of gasoline, we get, I don't know, I really don't, I should have looked this up, but I think it's around 10 miles per gallon, something like that. Sounds right. And so that is the efficiency. That's a measure of efficiency. So per gallon of gas, we get about 10 miles of driving, which is our desired work. In the smart car, we might get about 50 miles per gallon for that gallon of gas. So the efficiency, we can say, of the smart car is higher than the efficiency of the Hummer. The gallon of gasoline that went into those cars did a certain amount of desired work, which was driving, and then the rest, because of the second law of thermodynamics, was converted to a less desirable form or a less energy-intensive form in the form of heat. So the heat of the engine, the heat of the drivetrain, the heat of the tires from friction on the road, all of these things are dissipating the energy that was initially in that gallon of gasoline. We can also calculate the overall efficiency of a system if we look at the efficiency at each step of the conversion process of energy. So let's say we want to, this is from your book, let's say we want to light up a room with an old-fashioned incandescent light bulb here. And our source of energy is coal. Now, coal has about, what we say, 35% efficiency. So that means that of the energy locked up in that coal rock, 35% of it actually goes to producing electricity. And the rest of it, 65%, is transformed into a less usable form, heat. So heat traveling out of the smokestack, heat in the factory itself, all of these are sources or places in which heat is dissipated. Now, of the 35% of energy that goes into our grid that will be then distributed to the homes, some of that energy is lost as it travels down the power lines. It heats up those power lines, some due to just kind of a friction. And so 10% of that initial energy that goes in is transformed into heat. And we say it's lost. It's not really gone, right? But it is transformed into a less usable form. So 90% of that energy that left the power plant actually can enter our home and potentially light a bulb. Now, incandescent bulbs, as you may know, generate light simply by heating up a metal element inside the light bulb. So really what they are is they're generating heat. That's the primary thing they do. And as a byproduct, they happen to generate some light. In fact, the efficiency of incandescent bulbs is about 5%. So only about 5% of the energy coming into an incandescent bulb actually goes to producing light. The rest of it is just heat, which in most cases isn't desirable unless you're trying to heat a snake in a classroom or something like that. So there are efficiencies at each step of this process that we can try to use to calculate an overall efficiency. Nowadays, we're trying to get away from incandescent bulbs, so let's look at a couple other bulbs that we might be using in our homes. One of these, which is up here, which is you're probably familiar with, is the compact fluorescent light bulb, or CFL. These bulbs are more efficient than an incandescent bulb. They're anywhere from 10 to 20% efficiency when they produce light. So that means that 10 to 20% of the energy going into the bulb generates light. So 90 to 80% is still lost as heat. And if you've ever changed a compact fluorescent bulb after it's been on, it is hot or sat next to one. Another light bulb, which is on the market right now, are LEDs. This is a light-emitting diode. It is much more efficient. These are anywhere from 80 to 90% efficient. So only 10 to 20% is lost as heat. So these are actually much cooler and very efficient. Now, just as a consumer side note, the expense for these is much higher. An incandescent bulb costs you about 60 cents. Compact fluorescent bulb is maybe about $1, maybe nowadays, $1.50. But an LED will run you about $20 to $30. So it's a big expense up front, but you get long life and greater efficiency. So in the long run, you actually get your money back in LEDs if they survive. So to calculate the overall efficiency of this system, we can multiply the efficiency at each step in this transformation of the energy. So in the first step here, 35% is the efficiency at this step, 90% is the efficiency at this step, and 5% is the efficiency at this step for an incandescent bulb. You simply multiply those together and you get an overall efficiency of this system to light a bulb using coal. Now, if you want to be more precise, you could include the mining process of coal and other kind of the steps that go before actually the burning of the coal. Or you could also look at other sources of energy. So if we're not using coal, but we're using nuclear energy or solar energy, that would change the overall efficiency. So the main thing is, though, is you're just multiplying the efficiency, each efficiency together to get the overall efficiency of the system. That's it.